Freedom fighter or collaborator? This video will deal with a decision that each of us must make irrespective of where you live, whether in America, in Europe, or where I live, in Argentina, in South America. Are we to be freedom fighters or collaborators of this new world order that is taking us towards world government? We all feel that things are not what they seem, that time is out of joint, that something dreadfully wrong is happening, and that it is getting worse hour by the hour. But you see, the problem is not the economy, or the politicians, or the banks. The real problem is your mind, and how you think, understand, and decide what to do or what not to do. You see, we are held fast by invisible chains that imprison our minds. They must be broken, otherwise this is going to be George Orwell's 1984 revisited time and again. We've grown accustomed to a sanitized Walt Disney version of politics and modern history, where the good guys versus the bad guys, and the good guys, the mouse, always wins against the bad guys, the cat. And it happens, and this should make us all very suspicious, that the good guys that always win, they win because they have more firepower, because they are able to impose more violence than the bad guys. So there has to be something wrong with that line of thought. You see, what we are all victims of is psy-war, psychological war. I would say that psy-war is the mother of all wars. Let's look a little bit at the ammunition that they use. Any new perspective or approach to understand how the world really works makes a lot of people feel uneasy. That's when they start using the C word and the T word. What am I talking about? Conspiracy theory. Naturally, when you are accused of espousing a conspiracy theory, that has a flavor of the irrational, of being bigoted, of being paranoid, of having unsubstantiated ideas, of being schizophrenic, of even being hate-mongering. A clear sign when that happens that you are stepping on somebody's toes. When they brand you a conspiracy theorist, it means something is wrong. Branding any alternative view of politics and history, and trying to enforce the key debate taboos, because there are taboos on certain subjects that cannot be debated, are all part of the conspiracy theory ammunition. And even Hollywood helps along with promoting historical myths, promoting who the good guys and the bad guys in history and even in the present day world are. In 1997 they even made a movie with Mel Gibson called Conspiracy Theory, where Mel Gibson plays the part of one Jerry Fletcher, who is a New York cab driver, who is nutty, mentally unstable, paranoid. He sees conspiracies all over the place. In other words, the whole idea of seeing a conspiracy is ridiculed. These psychological operations, or psychological warfare, promote intellectual terrorism. They impose thought patterns and paradigms, historical and political distortion, fear of thinking differently, and, naturally, of getting branded as a conspiracy theorist. They can quickly derail your academic, your political, your public career, your corporate career, your family life. They can even get you thrown out of a club and make you lose friends. You have to be a very sturdy and strong personality to be able to take the heat. You see, resistance is what it's all about. You either resist or you collaborate. Because you might collaborate because you agree with the New World Order system, or because you profit from it, or because you don't really know what it's all about, or because you're scared. But think of it, doing nothing is collaborating. So that is one of the decisions we have to take. Either we collaborate or we resist. But before you can resist, you must understand what it's all about. That you're a freedom fighter. Why? What for? You see, this is a total war that is being waged against the liberty and the freedom of the peoples. And what the New World Order masters want is unconditional surrender. Your unconditional surrender. So what will it be? Freedom fighter or collaborator? I want to address the whole problem of conspiracy theory because I've posted several videos on YouTube, Global Financial Meltdown, World Government, Why the Obama Administration is Not Working, and a whole series of other things. And I know that many of you have viewed them. Hundreds of thousands of people have viewed my videos. I'm very thankful. And many hundreds more have sent me emails, which I've tried to reply, and messages I've tried to reply as best as I could. And naturally, the New World Order people feel jitters going down their spines every time somebody tries to understand what it's all about, what they're really doing. They try to disqualify us as fringe, they even insult us as just about anything you can imagine. But the fact is that the New World Order, they may try to brush us aside as conspiracy theorists, but we have to understand that in fact all we do is try to explain human nature and try to describe predictable human behavior. And to add insult to injury, they, the New World Order masters, then come and shove down our own throats the most ludicrous and ridiculous conspiracy theories that you can possibly imagine. Let me give you an example. I want to share with you what I feel is the craziest, most absurd, infantile, irrational, and ridiculous conspiracy theory I've ever heard in my life. Are you ready? Here goes. One sunny September morning, 19 young Muslim fundamentalist fanatics who can hardly fly small one-engine Cessna aircraft successfully hijacked 4 large United Airlines and American Airlines 767 and 757 jetliners over the skies of the eastern United States using plastic knives. Scary. They breached NORAD security with 100% efficiency, turned the aircraft back to New York City and Washington, D.C., fly in very low at 400 miles per hour. Like expert Air Force fighter pilots, they commit suicide by ramming 3 of the aircraft with uncanny precision into World Trade Center Tower number 1, World Trade Center Tower number 2, and the Pentagon, which is probably the most highly defended building in the entire world. And they did this controlled by a madman with a turban hiding in a cave in Afghanistan. And as George Bush said, former President George Bush said, we're going to smoke him out. But not only have they not smoked him out, they haven't found him. They destroyed Afghanistan to find him, and now they're not even looking for him. Oh yes, and I forgot. No 757 parts were found in the Pentagon rubble. And the few 767 parts that were found, in pieces that were found in the World Trade Center site, were very difficult to put together. But they did find intact the passport of one Mohammed Atta, who was supposed to be the leader of the 767 that rammed into the North Tower. Now that has got to be the mother of all ridiculous conspiracy theories. I won't go into the fact that the World Trade Center collapsed perfectly into its own fingerprint, or why the World Trade Center number 7 collapsed although no plane hit it, why the BBC announced that World Trade Center number 7, the 47 floor building, collapsed and they said it 20 minutes too early, or why World Trade Center owner Larry Silverstein said on TV that about 3 hours before it actually collapsed, he decided that World Trade Center 7 had to be pulled down, had to come down. Now, how do you make a building like World Trade Center number 7, 47 stories high, collapse 3 hours after you finally make the decision? Let's cut it out. That is absolutely stupid, and it's an insult to our intelligence, and even worse, it is an insult to the memories of those that did die in World Trade Center and the Pentagon, and those who also died in Afghanistan and Iraq, almost 2 million people in all, because of this ridiculous conspiracy theory. So what drives the New World Order? Who drives the New World Order also? First of all, we have to understand that the New World Order is private. Real power is private, which means that the decision makers who really have power keep a low profile. Formal power, however, is public. It is very high profile, and they execute the orders with a very high public profile. But they execute the orders of people who take them somewhere else. Sometimes it is important, therefore, that we understand what is going on and what is being discussed behind closed doors in New York, in Washington, and in London. Who are the people that are really running this show? What do they want? And how are they expecting to achieve it? I'm going to give you specific names: the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Conference, the Royal Institute of International Affairs, the World Economic Forum, the Bohemian Grove, where Alex Jones some time ago tried to interview David Gergen, a CFR member, about this, and David Gergen got very nervous. Skull and Bones, where both former President George W. Bush and his 2004 opponent, John Kerry, from the Republican and Democratic Party, both belonged and both refused to talk about it, saying that it was secret. APAC in the United States. In my country, Argentina, the Americas Society, the CARI, the Consejo Argentino de Relaciones Internacionales, DAIA, the AMIA, and other such organizations.